So last night we got to catch Antlers after our triple feature of Last Night Soho, Antlers, and Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin. This was our middle feature. And this one stars Kerry Russell. And she is a teacher in this kind of small podunk town. And her brother is the newly elected sheriff. And there is this kid in her class who's drawing all of these weird things, acting odd. And so she kind of starts to take it upon herself to investigate. And when she does, she starts to find out that he's hiding something. And what this kid is hiding is his dad is a bad man. And his dad is attacked in a mine where he's doing bad things. And then this kid is taking care of his family by himself as they are turning into something. And that doesn't all go so well for everybody involved. This is a creature feature. And this is brought to us by the creator of Channel Zero. He wrote part of the screenplay or came up with the story, and I think also helped on the screenplay here. And this is this is the director's first venture into horror, but he has some pretty well-known titles, whether it be Crazy Heart or Into the Furnace, I think is what that movie's called. And he also did Black Mass with Johnny Depp. And he's definitely had a good amount of success in film at this moment. And it's cool to see directors kind of go backwards, where they make dramas and they make thriller, these kind of like gangster thriller kind of movies and whatever, and then do horror. A lot of directors don't go that way. They usually start in horror and then they never look back. Or they'll stay in horror. Or they'll stay in horror for a long while and then they'll kind of venture out and then they'll like come back to horror. But this guy made like 4 feature films, bigger named films, and then just kind of decided to do this smaller scale horror film, which I think is cool. And I think that the direction here is cool. Now, this is a film, I will say, that the story itself and kind of how things start to play out here does feel familiar. I don't want to use the word generic because there's enough going on here that it never felt generic as a whole. The concept and like the execution of the narrative feels slightly generic, but what really saves this movie is not only the acting and kind of the grittier, darker cinematography of the film, but above all else,
the monster.
Yes. The monster in this. And it's not just the monster in its final stage. It's the entire build-up to the monster coming, onto the screen and all of the stuff that happens with that build-up. I'm not going to say anything more about that because I want you to experience it, but I thought all of that stuff was phenomenal. Like, while I don't know how much of it is practical and how much of it is CG, there's definitely CG. But I can tell you that all of it is top-notch seamless. I never was taken out of this film for one single second because of the effects.
Yes.
And films like this really can have that effect where they try to do something and you think, they shouldn't have put that in here. They spent money on this, and Guillermo del Toro is who produced this film, and he's kind of the creature feature guy. And I think that he, being involved on the production side of things, was, I'm sure, involved very heavily with making sure that monster looked up to snuff with what he's put out in the past, whether it's Pan's Labyrinth or Hellboy or, The Shape of Water or whatever. When he is involved, or Crimson Peak or any of those movies, where like the effects have to live up to the standard of that film. And I feel like they are unbelievably successful with that. The monster in this fucking rules. and is absolutely memorable. And the only thing I could compare it to off the top of my head is The Ritual.
Yes.
So how did you feel about this?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I was excited for it, but I didn't kind of expect. I don't know. I guess I had high expectations for it, but I think after watching it, it exceeded those expectations.
Cool.
So I was really not surprised, but just happy with how that turned out. The monster is definitely my favorite part, but then also the protagonist, the little boy. I think he really carries the film for me. He was everything that he's going through is really heartbreaking, and I think he conveys it very well. And
I think they found a homeless child and put him in this movie.
So bizarre looking,
and he's so emaciated,
so scary, but it works so well with the film. And when we were talking about it, it's it is like a dark fairy tale.
Absolutely.
And I really enjoy movies like that. I like to see fairy tales kind of brought to life, because I think that there's a lot of untapped content in fairy tales and in that kind of realm that isn't used as much. So
Nick Antosca, how do you say this guy's name? I don't know.
I feel like I've always said it like Anacosta.
I always have too, but when I look at it, it's A-N-T, Antosca, I think.
Anticosta? I don't know.
There's no T in it, I don't. Oh, actually, the ant, but then after there's no T. Anticosta. It's not. Costco. Whatever it is. He, all of the seasons of Channel Zero, yes, and even like a brand new cherry flavor, yes, or whatever. These all have that kind of folktale, obviously Channel Zero is based off of creepypastas, which, yes, are like modern day urban legends or fairy tales. So it's not surprising to me that this has that feel to it as well, as far as the story. Okay. I'll say a positive and then a negative. One thing I do, another positive for the film, because it's almost all positive, and I absolutely recommend you go see this in theaters for sure. But another really cool part of this film that I feel is like the heart of the film is that there is this kind of emotional empathy between the two main characters. You've got Kerry Russell's character who's dealing with a dark past. And she's drawn to this little boy, and what's pushing her through this is, he's going through something emotionally wrecking and devastating. And both of them have to do with their family, and there's this really cool, deep connection. And I think that the acting from everybody here is excellent. Kerry Russell and the kid, and then that weird-looking dude from Fargo, and fucking everything. He's in everything. Jesse Plimson or something like that, I want to say. But yeah, I think I fucking made that last name 100%. Really? I think that's it, though. I think it's close. You have your phone there. You should look it up. Anyways, we'll see how close I got. I never know what that guy's name is. But the negative here, to me, is it does one tropey thing that I can't stand in fucking horror.
Jesse Plemons.
I was really close. Yeah. I was really close.
You were close, okay.
Okay, anyway. I'm thinking more of the Plimsouls, the band that plays in Valley Girl. Look them up. But anyways, the tropey thing that so many horror movies do in modern times is I like either keeping things really like vague or, up for interpretation or whatever. Or like somebody goes and does some investigation or whatever. But like just the older guy who comes in with all of the info and he has the book and he just opens it up and he's like points to it and then tells you how to kill it and all that stuff. That trope needs to die. I can't stand it. It's too convenient. It's too easy. You just have someone in town or someone you run into who just so happens to be an expert on the thing. Yeah. I can't stand it. It's too easy, and we talked about it last night, and I feel like it's there for the general stupid audience that wants that explanation, doesn't want to think for things through for themselves. She said that with what they're giving you here, you can very much figure out what this monster is on your own if you're familiar with what the attributes of this monster are. And which I didn't know that's what, was that monster. So I wouldn't have, but if after having watched this, I would have either looked into it and then found out what it was and been like, oh, that's that's cool. I don't need it explained to me.
Yeah.
And I want them to figure it out for themselves. Right? It's just frustrating and annoying to me, and I'm just not a fan of it. So that is one gripe I have with this for sure. And also, I think I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more interaction between. In fact, what I think I would have liked is I think I would have liked Kerry Russell's character with the little kid, and maybe like a moment where. And this film goes for dark, gritty. Everything is moody and sad and dark and depressing. The town they live in is fucking,
They're in Oregon, so it's already all gloomy out.
Yeah, it's gloomy. It's poor.
Yes.
It's dirty. It's, everyone seems to be, financially stressed or on drugs or, incompetent at what they're doing or any of those things. It feels like the most sad town you've ever fucking seen. But I don't know, maybe, I think it would have just connected me a little bit more if Kerry Russell's character and the kid would have had just a small little relationship somewhere. But I guess we get this in the ice cream shop.
Yes.
I suppose. So maybe it's a nitpick that I can excuse in a second watch and say it's there. I want something that connects them where I can find that she would go on this journey into these lengths.
Yeah.
To help this kid like this. It just feels like she's doing it because of her own emotional trauma, which is fine too. So these are nitpicks. I'm a really big fan of this movie. I just wish we'd take the guy out. If anything, I just want that scene taken out. You can literally take the film and cut that scene out of the film. It does nothing to the film.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. It will not take away from the film in the slightest.
No. Yeah. You could definitely remove it without any kind of mess up.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. You wouldn't have any questions like, how'd they know that? Or any, no.
Yeah, no. Yeah. But it's wonderful. It's a wonderful movie.
Yeah, and, very well directed.
Yes.
Cinematography's great. Monsters. Mwah,
yes, very chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Great night. Just a great night for film. And we're about to talk about our favorite film of the night. So, anything more on this one?
No, I mean, without, talking about like major spoilers, I think that it's just, if you like monster movies, it's definitely worth checking out.
Absolutely.
And I think that it will be making it into like the top favorites of the year for sure.
Yes.
So,
very happy with it. And worth the wait. Yeah. This shit was pushed back 1,000 times. And I'm very glad to have seen it finally. It was worth it. Mm-hmm. All right, check it out.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.